inspiring higher heights.
Very much so. I mean, very much so. My impression is that black activists in Columbia are outraged that the students and faculty and leaders of Columbian universities tend to be white Colombians or light-skinned mestizos, perpetuating the racial inequality that exists in the broader society. And so I think there is a struggle for affirmative action in Columbia for integrating the Afro-Colombian experience into the curriculum, K through 12 and above, for diversifying the student body. So I think those are ongoing major concerns, because often the leaders of black groups are college graduates. So they often were one of very few blacks in their classes. And so they felt this thing, the isolation and the sting of the college and university experience, because there were so few Afro-Colombians who had access. But yeah, I think that is a concern, ongoing concern.
Would you comment on, you talked about in Brazil, those organizations for Afro-Brazilians set up by the government. My question is this: how successful have they been? Because we usually think of those kind of organizations as grassroots. That's not grassroots if it comes down from the top. So I'm curious about the success or the mixed success, or...
Well, it's definitely mixed success at best.
Okay.
But and some people dismiss them as co-optation and tokens, throwing crumbs to black people. That's an argument. I don't agree with that argument, though. I think that even though the funds are short, the resources are light, it's a beginning. And part of the reason I say that is the people who occupy the positions tend to be grassroots leaders, tend to be authentic leaders who come out of black political struggle. And not bureaucrats who no one knows. No, they're people who, I mean, the flip side of that, some people say they're being bought off. And I'm like, you could argue that, but
you've got to start something.
Right, they're taking jobs that allow them to do what they want to do. They don't have the resources to do everything they want to do, but they can do some things. And I think the result of the things they do is to bring more attention to the concerns of the community.
So they do have some political voice, that's your point.
And visibility.
And visibility, okay.
And I think they've tried to leverage that visibility, limited resources, and voice to get more resources, more visibility and voice. And that's why I mentioned the black elected officials, because black elected officials have been allies of these government units. And there have been attempts to extinguish them, to close them down altogether.
Right.
And the people who are in them don't want that to happen, and they've appealed to black elected officials to help defend them and make the public case that they're doing good work. And so I believe that Brazil and all countries in Latin America have a long way to go to achieve more egalitarian societies in a social, economic, and racial sense. But I think recognizing the problem, acknowledging the problem, collecting more data to understand the problem are important steps in the direction of solving it or making progress on it.
I have one more question for Brazil. This is Brazil particularly. The question you talked about education, public universities and private universities. What's interesting in America, the private universities and the good public ones are on the same level. We talk about Berkeley and Stanford, and we're at Berkeley, and they really sort of on the same level.
Yes.
But in Brazil, these private universities, you would think there would be some excellent private universities.
No, it should be clear. There are some excellent, right, there are some excellent private universities, Catholic universities, for example. And some private universities that are excellent.
But they are expensive, but they have to.
Right, but they're expensive, and they generally don't have the resources, funding, or status that the major public universities have.
you don't get money sort of under the table like our private universities do. They do research in the National Endowment for Humanity. For the National Institutes of Health, they get federal money. A lot of these private universities, like Harvard, they get a lot of federal money for certain kinds of things. I don't know.
I think they get some, but I think it pales in comparison to the public universities. For example, Brazil has a federal university system, which they get their money directly from the federal government, of over 50 universities. And those are prestigious universities. Those are among the most prestigious universities in the country. Those are generally considered the most prestigious. And so it's an honor, it's a privilege to go to school there, to get a job there. And then you have the state universities, like the state of Rio de Janeiro, the state of Sao Paulo. And those universities, and the best state universities, are also among the most prestigious. But yeah, that's where the status is. My general critique would be that Brazilian elites over the years have not invested enough in education, K through 12 or university level, and so they've created a very elitist system. But yeah, the best universities are really, really good and world class.
Okay, you talked about equity distribution. Actually, Brazil is a pretty rich country, isn't it? Pretty well.
Exactly.
If they redistribute the resources of this country,
exactly.
Oil and everything.
A rich country with a lot of poor people.
Yeah,
so that's the problem.
Well, we thank you for this. We thank him. Join me in thanking Professor Johnson for this stimulating lecture. Did you have a question? Okay, I didn't want to preempt any. Ali, did you? Okay. We thank you very